Hello, and welcome to Let's Talk Real Estate Stuff, podcast where we dive deep in the world of real estate investing and the random stuff that makes life interesting. I'm John Whitfield, joined by my co-host, Carlos Zamora from Investor Views and Carrot, and Papa P might show up. Still unknown about where in the world he is. He's probably dealing in mobile home parks, so who knows. How's it going, Carlos? How you going?
It's good, man. Happy 2025. Happy New Year.
Yeah, Happy New Year, everybody. I was thinking about that as the video was playing and then forgot to say that at the beginning. But yes, Happy New Year. Are you all planned for 2025?
No, I'm not. I'm still spending some time doing that. I feel like I have a lot of like bullet points and chapters, but still going to work on that. Take some time this weekend. I feel like it's usually like a little bit of a January process, looking back and then going through. The Carrot annual call was yesterday. I didn't get to catch the whole thing. I caught like the first 45 minutes, but that's always one of my favorite calls, if not my favorite call of the year. So that was really good. Highly suggest. Probably should have got the replay link before mentioning that, but you guys will find it on the Carrot website. There should be some replays for it.
Yeah. I know you usually, one thing that I admire about Carlos is his ability to plan and stick to goals. And like, for example, one year was learning Spanish and he stuck to it for the whole year. Any fun, interesting goal you want to share with the world?
Come for next year?
Yeah.
That's a big personal one, continuing to do that, but it was pretty cool. Spanish this year, first year having a tutor, being able to go to another country, talk Spanish. Miami is kind of like welcome BP. This is one of BP's areas of the country. It's pretty much like Spanish down here. Like half the people that are in Ubers or service people, cleaning ladies, don't speak English. So it's nice to be able to go to dinner or just go out to eat, coffee, whatever, and just talk to people in Spanish.
Nice. BP, how's your I just noticed you changed your name. That's funny. How's your New Year going?
Same old, every day. I never understood why everyone thinks January 1st is a fucking holiday. The amount of shit that I can't get. It's not a fucking holiday. It's another fucking day. The fact I was thinking about it, the fact that like businesses shut down, that's like the American way is in order to start something like a fresh year, we have to fucking not do anything. Like, you know what? Like, I'm gonna really hit it this year, but not on the first. I want to recover from drinking and staying up late and relax and take naps all day. And I was just trying to get shit done. Like even today, I can't do anything. I'm trying to get a hold of like people in the city and like everyone's taking vacations pretty much for the last 2 weeks, and it's just it's a pain in my ass right now. Trying to get stuff done.
BP's looking forward to January 6th.
Yeah,
when the world returns to normal.
Yeah, I'm not I don't believe in the whole.
He's a big January 6th guy.
I am. Free Jan 6. Yeah, can't wait.
It's funny.
But so anyway, you know,
Fun stuff. I just went over some stuff in the Carrot Company call. I'll bring it to the attention of our large viewership here as well. That InvestorFuse and Carrot CRM released 2 integrations on Monday, one for Dialpad and one for Plecto. So we now have a new VoIP provider, which is a pretty cool VoIP provider. They have a lot of AI functionality built into their platform, like integrated through every aspect of their calling system, which is pretty unique. And then Plecto's a sales dashboard tool, really kind of focused on our kind of top customers that have an office and want a TV in the office. BP used to have one of my Plecto dashboards back in the day when he had an office.
We love the Plecto. When I was wholesaling, dude, it was it's great for sales teams. I mean, it is. Yeah. I think it's an essential for sales teams. I remember back in like 15 years ago now. I remember trying to convince my brokerage. I was a Remax agent, and I was trying to, like, I was the youngest guy there, and it was all like old heads, 50s. And Tony was a good dude, my original mentor. But anyway, I was like, hey, we should get a board to like rank everybody on like sales volume. And so we know, like, because I was hungry, dude. I was like 25. I was ready to go. And he said he didn't want to hurt anybody's feelings by putting that up there. And like the people that weren't making money, because, you know, like as an agent, there's a lot of people in an office that don't make money. So in lieu of that, I used to go back. He had like a little like suite, and next to his office was his assistant admin, his executive admin, and she would do all the books. So I'd be back there every time I was picking up a commission. I'm like, hey,
am I on top? Am I on top?
Yeah, can you look at where? And that was my goal. And I was always trying to beat Danny Christian, because like him and his wife controlled the Spanish market, because his wife was Spanish. So like, and I was always trying to beat him, and dude, like, and I did. Like, there was a point once I got tied on with the hedge funds, I was smoking them. I was like top sales leader because I was selling houses and renting the stuff. So I mean, I kind of had a little cheat code there, but yeah, I had to go there because we didn't have a sales leaderboard, and I really thought. I mean, even at that time, which was pre-tech, you know, 2011-ish was like pre-tech stuff. It's funny to say that actually, but
you had to do it on a whiteboard.
Yeah, but either way, I found it weird that he didn't want to, but I got it. I mean, everyone was in their 50s and 60s and stuff, so it was like, you know,
different culture in a wholesale office.
Much different, which is why weaving back to it, doing my Trump weave, which is why when I got into wholesaling, I really wanted it, because I knew how important it was to stay motivated, because it literally kept me motivated chasing that dude down, like knowing how many more houses I had to sell in order to freaking catch that guy for the month or the quarter. Like it was, and especially at the year end, I was really tracking it.
Yeah, it is super motivating. And it's interesting. I mean, Plecto has like fun things in it too, where like once somebody gets a deal under contract, you can make it play like their video on the TV.
Dude, yeah, we did. We had that. You set that up for me, dude. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, you can like attach smart lights onto it, so like if somebody gets like sends an offer, you can make it like flash yellow or something. So
yeah, no, that's really important. Yeah, it's cool that you guys got that set up. Plecto does a pretty good job.
Yeah, it works pretty well.
I think everyone uses, even the Salesforce guy used Plecto, I think.
Oh, really?
I'm almost positive. I'm pretty sure like Eric Brewer and them still use Plecto, if I'm not mistaken.
There's other tools out there now, but I went with Plecto. I mean, it's been around forever.
What's the other one? Databox?
Databox is more of like it's more focused on just like overall dashboards for the company, like marketing and like QuickBooks and stuff like that, where Plecto is like really fine-tuned into like sales, because it's per person. And so that's where it really excels, is like this person did this. Or has this much money.
Because you track it by the user leaderboards, all because we had the sales leaderboard up, and not just like total commissions or total this. Like you could tell by the user who was doing the deal for that video to play, like John was saying. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Yeah,
I dig it.
Yep, requires some setup. So if anybody of our large,
he's in here for just me. He's in here for just me.
Let's see who's top of the leaderboard today. VP again.
No, but like I would do it, like even the business I'm in now with like capital raising and like parks, like I would track like, you know, tracking stuff in my mind is important. It's, you know, as a business, they always say like, what is it? Inspect what you expect. And it's like, I mean, I would track money raised, parks owned, tenants, like leases, like occupancies. Like, I mean, just to have that up 24/7 is a thing. Like, I keep my whiteboard with stuff on it, you know what I mean? But like having that digital board I think there's many uses more than just wholesaling, but I get what you're saying. It's more for the sales, but maybe DataBox is something for like operational stuff. Not just integrated into InvestorFuse, but like just in general, like if you had, I don't know, like a project app, transaction app, something like that, like where you could feed all your other data into. I bet you could even feed like your QuickBooks and stuff into it too, huh?
I feel like they might have Plecto might have a QuickBooks.
Maybe not
I wouldn't
Plecto,
be
but like
I
that
wouldn't be
other
surprised.
company.
A DataBox does for sure.
I wonder if I could pump Rent Manager into it. I'm not gonna look now. We're on a show, but like now I'm kind of curious. I don't need it, but I just I this is how it gets started, and then you start getting subscriptions to shit.
Mhm.
This is true.
don't
This
use.
is true. You made me curious now. I'm looking at. Man, Plecto does have a lot of built-in integrations now.
Oh yeah. Yeah, DataBox should be pretty wild. Those are the two main ones I've seen people get set up with.
Yeah. Yeah. So you can do QuickBooks in the Plecto now.
Makes sense.
Lots of calls. Interesting. Anyways. Yeah, no, that was kind of my quick update. We've also released some transaction updates. If you use transactions heavily inside of the CRM, enjoy some fun things in there with filters and back and forth and blah blah blah. Anyways, that was my CRM update for you guys in the new year. Merry Christmas,
Yeah.
Happy New Year.
Love it.
I dig it.
Trying to figure out how to plug in my headphones because they're gonna die. So somebody else talk while I find my cord.
Well, I canceled my mobile home park deal. 188 lots down the tube.
What happened?
You know, I wrote a little article. I did my article this week about it because I did my one earlier this month about what I found on inspections, which I think we talked about on the show. But then I was like, so I got my extension and I dove into it. And bro, like I get it. Like there's no way I could prove. Nobody likes a retrader. Okay, I get it. No one wants a retrader. Nobody likes somebody who backs out of deals. And
Wait, what's a retrader?
Where you renegotiate a price.
Oh, okay.
You retrade on the price, and it's like, anyway. But like what I found, if you remember, is like all the old piping. And it's like, and so I've been talking to the plumber that does the majority of their work, and they're like, he's fixed so many. In fact, like he even had like another one he was scheduled to fix, and it's like, man, I find it. And I understand there's the office staff, the property manager, and then the owner. The manager of the property is also part owner of the LLC, but still, okay, like he's not the end owner. And I'm dealing with this guy, and it's like, bruh, like I get that you're not there and you're on the other side of the country, but I find it hard to believe that you've been paying all these bills and doing these repairs and you didn't know that the material of the pipe was this and that you could have disclosed this to. And I didn't say this to him because one, I can't prove it. I would have to, and it's irrelevant at this point. But anyway, when I found that out and I went through the cost, dude, it's gonna cost me $1.5 million, 1.5 million.
God.
So you got 188 lots. And the benefit is, and this guy, anyway, and he knew some of this shit too, because when I was negotiating with him, trying to renegotiate, he was like, oh yeah, well, the back half is new. I was like, well, I'm thinking, well, how the fuck did you know that if you didn't know that the other part was the old stuff? Anyway. And it's like, so you really got about 140 lots that are all jacked. And so you have the lateral lines and the main lines. Well, the main lines run directly under the center of all the roads. So in order to replace the main lines, you have to rip up 95,000, I measured them, 95,000 square feet of roads, 4,280 linear feet of road. Yeah,
God.
Because this is all part of my diligence, right? Like I had to go measure, I had to try to find quotes or at least averages that I could work off of. And at $3 a square for like repaving, not even, and I'm sure I'm light on that because when you're ripping up roads, there's going to be dirt infill and all kinds of stuff. So I'm sure I was even light on the $3, but I was just using a rough number to try to come up with something. So you tie that in. Then you have 140 lots of lateral lines that all need replaced. replaced. So that's 70 feet per line. And it's like, and his other quote was like, he had been replacing them for $2,000 a pop, maybe a little more. Like his quote was like, his bill was 1,800 or his estimate. And then it was like plus more if we have to dig into the roads. And I think it came in over 2K because of the road work. What I'm getting at is add all that up. You know what I mean? And that's not even getting the water lines. The sad thing I found out about the water lines is they too ran under the road. So, and again, well, here's the thing is they don't really need done. Now, they're leaking, but not bad. And you could patch them. But if you're going to rip the roads up,
Might as well do the water lines.
Because what wouldn't you? And then what? You're going to repave them, and then in another 10 years, going to have to rip the roads back up again when the galvanized pipes finally pit out and rust out. So it's like one thing kept beginning another. Anyway, and he wouldn't quote me an exact number because he wanted to have engineered plans. Like he wanted an engineering company to go out there and survey and get the actual measurements and layout of everything so he could price quote it. And that's going to be money. And I'm not doing that during a 30-day, during the holiday due diligence. So again, we estimated and we were running off his previous prices for them and a slight discount. And we were like 1.5.
Good God.
And it's like, and I think
so it's not a deal. At the end of the day, it's not a deal.
So that's the thing. So I go back to him and I'm like, okay, so I had budgeted 800 in my pre-budget without knowing anything was wrong. I'm very conservative. I had a cushion because I figured some shit was going on. So I budgeted, but I'm still like 700K short. Mm-hmm. So I go back to him and I start at 650 and this guy's basically like, no. And he's like, and he tries to tell me that he could do it for half that price. It's like talking to sellers with houses when they're like, I can rehab this whole house for less than $5,000. Like, with what? With what? Watercolor, paint, and toothpicks? Like, what are you fixing this house with? You remember, like, when you're wholesaling, like, people will be like, I can do all of this, new kitchen, new bathroom, I can do it all under $5,000. I don't know why you're saying it's going to be $40,000. I'm like, and that's what this was like. And so he starts just like sellers in wholesaling houses. Well, I had done this before, and this was like 500, and I had a guy at this park over here did it.
They start selling you on it.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to argue with the guy, and so I'm trying to pat him on the back. You're right. I'm sure you're right, but hey, listen. Anyway, he wanted to give me 150, and I'm like, dude,
150 off.
150 off the price from 4.15 down to 4, and I need to be like closer to 3.6 because when you're buying parks, very similar to like flipping a house, I need to make a certain amount of money. I don't really care what I pay, as long as in the end my margin's there, and I need a 2x multiple. And so like I can't, dude, like that would have brought me down below a 2x multiple, and that's if nothing else goes wrong.
Yeah.
So anyway, like, and then he tries, and what pissed me off is then he goes, well, I think the real problem is you probably should have started raising money as soon as you got this under contract. Do you know what he's insinuating, right?
That you don't have the money, and that's why you're backing out of the contract.
100%. And I was fucking pissed. And I go, well, actually, the money's not the problem. I already have enough soft commitments to close it. The real problem is that you have all these problems with your park that I don't see how you're going to fix them in your current condition of everything. He's losing money every month.
Yeah.
Like literally the reason why the seller is selling is because they make 40-some K a month and they're hemorrhaging money because they don't have anything under control. So how are you going to fix this if you don't have your seller infuse like a couple $100,000 to try to start stemming all this? And you have your vacants coming vacant. You're not repairing them because you don't have the money to repair them, because you talk to the staff, and the staff, just like a nosy neighbor or a tenant when you're wholesaling houses, like tenants love when you're wholesaling a house, tenants will tell you everything that's wrong with the fucking property without the owner knowing.
It's so funny.
Same thing with staff at a mobile home park. You just let them talk. They'll tell you everything the owner never told you, which is why a lot of sellers don't want you talking to the manager or the tenants during due diligence, and which is a red flag. So anyway, it's like, I know all this stuff. So I told him, I go, listen, man. I was like, I want to buy it. This kills me to cancel it. I just can't do it at the price you're saying. So, hey, if you go and you do what you're going to do, and if you guys change your mind and you want to really talk price, I've already done my due diligence. I already have everything lined up. I could get you closed pretty quick. You know what he tells me? What do you think he told me? Just relating it back to wholesaling, what do you think he said he was going to do instead?
Go find another buyer.
Not just find another buyer, John. What do you think he said?
He's going to buy it?
No, he's got enough. Oh my
Oh.
God, he's got a guy who said it's literally like wholesaling a house.
Mhm.
He goes, well, I already talked to the seller, the actual owner, and he's like, we've both decided that if you weren't gonna do this, we got a guy who wants to buy it, who doesn't care about anything, and he's just ready to close on it.
Yeah,
And
pay
I'm
a
like,
premium for it.
yeah, and I'm like, and it's funny how closely related to like single family, like the way these people act are. And you want to call bullshit, right? You just
Mhm.
want to be
Mhm.
like, it's like, good luck. Like, you're a fucking idiot. Nobody's just going to spend $4
Well, that's what they're
million.
gonna. I mean, if they're not gonna go down in price, they have to look for an idiot to buy the property, right? Or somebody who's got a ton of money can pay out of pocket and
Which is exactly what I
carry the
think. So
costs.
I think so. Like his whole business model is like, and I also don't think he was ever going to tell the seller I wanted to renegotiate, because in order to tell the seller, he would have to admit, because he sold
Admit
the
all the
property.
things he's fucked up on.
Well, the seller bought it with him, so he should have done his due diligence. And if he didn't do it, it's not like the pipes suddenly magically fairy dusted into this material. So, and nobody would have bought Orangeburg. No one's stupid enough to buy Orangeburg pipes in this without planning to replace them, because they literally crumble. And
Yeah.
it's just tar paper. And it's like, so then he would have to admit to the guy that he had fucked up. So somebody like this isn't going to admit that. So I knew going into the renegotiation, there was no way. My only hope was to tell him I wanted to buy it. And then maybe if no one else was touching it, he would come back to me, because he's done it on a couple other parks that I tried buying from him. And then he would tell me he had a higher bid and all this. And then a month later, he'd call me and be like, well, would you do this price? And I'd say no. And then he'd call me again. Well, hey. So, so I'm kind of holding out for it. I would love to buy this park, but obviously I got to buy it at the right number. Really sucks, but and so I lost my inspection money. I got my deposits back and all that stuff, because and guess what? A week and a half
Thank
later,
God.
still hasn't signed a cancellation. Luckily, if you recall, I purchased like a legitimate contract from an attorney, and in there it gives me unilateral right for extensions, unilateral release of EMDs, as long as I follow.
That's what I was going to ask.
So whereas on every other park I purchased, I did not have any of that language in. This is the first park, well, second, because I'm under contract on another, but this is my first one where I'm canceling or that I put under with this contract. And luckily I had that language, because although he said, fine, you can cancel, protect your deposit, no response to my cancellation email, no response to the cancellation agreement, no signature. It's over a week and a half. I haven't gotten it. So, it's fine. I told my office just to keep going for we don't need any of that. So we got titles sending us back our money. But
Yeah.
Good. I wasn't sure if he was just doing you a solid, or that was actually all in the contract if you backed out.
no, I mean, I don't think he would. Yeah, he probably would take my deposit if he could. Not maliciously, as in like I'm within my rights and he would take it. But it wouldn't be like a good bro, like, oh, okay, dude, like you missed this rule or something.
Right.
No, he wouldn't. I don't think he would do that. Like if I missed one of the rules and I missed something, he would hold me to it. Is what he would do.
So what's going to happen? He's either going to drop down in price, or
He's not
this
dropping.
alleged other buyer is going to kind of be a sucker and buy a bad deal.
It's really hard to explain this to you, because I don't want to put anybody on blast, but it's like the guy who's doing this has this business model where like he helps. So John, you're rich. You want to get into mobile home parks, but you don't want to do anything. And you don't want to invest with a guy like me, right? Like you want to own the park yourself. So you go to this guy. And this guy will manage the park, like third-party management, but he's going to get a little fee and a little bit of this, and he'll help you find it, do the due diligence for you. He'll run it, and you just sit back in whatever state you're in, running your business, and this guy will do it. So he has a network of people like that, of guys who have money and want to own real estate themselves, whether it's a park or an RV park or a storage, you know what I mean? Like, he'll just sell them. So I'm sure he has some dude who is trying to 1031 into something, and 1031s, you're on a time constraint. So those people are perfect for trying to get them to close quick, because they need to identify the property and close on the property in a certain time frame. So a lot of them, so anyway, dude. So I think that's what he's going to do.
Do you think he'd stay on as the property manager? Is that how he usually
100%.
works those deals?
100%. He's done it. So God, I have so many weaving stories with this. So he tried selling me 2 parks in Kentucky. There was a 60 lot park. I looked up the stats. There's 600 people in the town. I was like, fucking 10% of the entire population of this fucking city is gonna have to live in my fucking park. I'm not buying this. Anyway, he ended up selling it to somebody, and he is the manager because the lady who is the manager at this park I'm trying to buy, her husband is a traveling rehab crew for the guy, and he's up in Kentucky rehabbing for the new owner some of the units for the guy, the guy who does this. So yeah, he tries, and he's been trying to convince me to keep him on. And my lender, get this, my lender even wanted me to keep him on.
I remember you telling me about that. Yeah.
And I was
She
like,
loves the guy.
Lenders love him, apparently. Anything he touches automatically closes. I'm like, and I wasn't trying to be a dick, but I'm like, have you looked at everything I sent you? Like,
He's
why would
clearly
I
mismanaged the park
Yeah.
into not making money to the point where it needs to be sold.
Yeah, like, it literally is a complete fucktastrohe. But if I put him on as my general partner or co-partner, I would get my loan a lot easier and better terms because of the reputation this guy has, because he has his way of talking. He never takes the blame. He always blames the owner or somebody else for the reason why. Every park I've ever tried buying from him is always the owner's fault. Well, I told the guy I needed more money, and that's why we can't do this. Well, the guy stopped giving me money. The guy this, the guy.
Oh, man. How many parks do you think that he manages?
I actually know the number to that, and I don't know off the top of my head because he talks about it openly. I think it's like, I'm gonna say the number 40, or it's high double digits. It's mid double digits somewhere, so 30, 40, 50, something like that. He's got a bunch, bro, and every single one, I've looked at a dozen of them, a literal dozen, and every one of them is effed. Like, there's just, I've probably driven to like 6 or 7 of them in person, because I was really going to buy some. I'm like, dude, I'm like, one of them, and he didn't even, dude, he knows shit. Like the one he's selling me on these ones in Arkansas. And I go there, and I was so surprised, bro. I pull in. It's like, it's a 60 and a 40 lot park. I pull into the 40 lot park, and there's all these homes. I'm like, okay. I'm like, man, there's no cars.
Oh, is it all vacant?
Bro, it was like a deserted ghost town, and everything was like shrimp. How do you not know this? That you didn't tell me that before I flew to Arkansas. Granted, I was going to look at my other park anyway, but still, like, I told you I was going, and you're like, yeah, I'll let the guy find out. Like, he's a piece of work.
There's something a little off there.
He's a piece of work. So anyway, I had to cancel it. And, whatever. Meantime, I got my other park going, and this lady's, I'm way past my inspection period. I emailed her that I was okay with my inspection period, and she emails me on New Year's Day like, hey, your inspection ended on December 22nd. Just curious if you want your extension. This is like 2 weeks later after my extension expired. If you do, just let me know, and I'll tell title I'm okay with it, and you just put the extra $5,000 down, and we'll get you your extension. I'm like,
she's working New Year's Day.
I was like, is this like a trick? You're just willingly 2 weeks after I told you I was cool with it, offering, like, do you need an extension? Like, am I missing? I got to call her and find out.
Wait. So you didn't want an extension?
I didn't need it.
Oh,
I'm good. I'm good. The property it was, I have no complaints. Everything was exactly as she told me it was, which is how it should be. So I had no problems with it.
So you're ready to close, but she wants an extension?
I'm not ready to close. I have I have till March 1st to close on it. I'm doing my lending and my processing right now.
So once the extension period ends, it's like you are on the hook for, and that's when you would lose your EMDs?
Yeah, unless I can't get my loan, because I have another contingency for my loan. So if I get denied my loan, then I get my deposit back. But I mean, I shouldn't be denied my loan. I should be fine. It's a small deal. I mean, I'm only getting a 1.3 loan, so it's a 1.9 purchase, putting like $500-600 down and getting like so I mean, between me and my part, we have the net worth, and you know what I mean, to be able to take it down. So I'm not worried about it. But I'm curious as to why she offered it. But you can see the juxtaposition between the two types of sellers, right? Like, one, because he was trying to take my deposit on my initial expiration of my thing, because he's like, you're past your extension, and you remember, and I was like, you need to tell your lawyer to reread the contract.
Oh man. Well, hey, starting
Sucks,
off the year strong with a park already.
Yeah, better than buying a bad deal.
Yeah,
for sure.
I know, dude.
And how much you learned in that process? I mean, I know
Yeah.
you lost some money, but
Yeah.
I mean, you got some learnings.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's like you lose money, but I didn't lose, like I've lost more money on like other deals, but like when you back out. So I've learned my lesson not to pay anybody or like really do the big ticket stuff until you get all the way through. Cause I remember on one deal I lost 13K or 15K because I hired the syndication attorney because the seller wanted me to close quick. So I was already through my like starting my capital raise before my DD was up when shit hit the fan. And so I had to eat that cost. So I learned not to do anything. And even with the lender, when I hired the broker, the mortgage broker, I made sure the contract I signed with them said that if I like their fee is only if I close. They don't get a fee if they do the work, secure me a lender, and then I back out of the deal. Like they don't get. So I was protecting myself so I didn't lose any more money than necessary if something went wrong. So yeah, I am learning and I'm getting better at it. It just sucks. 188 lots would have been cool, but Carlos, you're right. No deal is better than a bad deal because then that would look real bad, you know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, headache and yeah, look bad
yeah.
as you try to go after other ones.
So $1.5 million would be a tough pill to swallow on that.
Heck yeah. I mean, how do your tenants even work around there not being a road?
So right now, I mean, they have like orange cones because they're ripping up the road to replace. They don't repair the roads. So like, I remember my first visit, I was trying to figure out why there's these orange cones in the middle of the road and there's all these holes because they need to drill in to attach new lateral lines. They have to jackhammer a section of the road to tie into the main line in the middle. And it's like, they just leave it.
That's crazy.
I mean, that's why I think it could come back is because the owner's literally running out of money. And it's like, if he doesn't find somebody stupid enough to buy it or buy it at a price that maybe it's instead of 3.6, maybe someone buys it for 3.8, 3.9.
Yeah.
And maybe I could make those numbers work, but it'd be really stretching it. You know, I'd rather be, my top is like 3.7, 3.75 is where I figured I could be at because I already budgeted 800K. I could really still, and it was such a good deal, I could still hit my 2X if I was up to 3.7. So I was leaving myself some room to negotiate with him, but 150 was like, dude, like he's like, that's all you need.
No, it's not.
No, that's definitely not.
Oh man.
So on to the next, bro. I'm going to check out a park in Alabama. I gotta
War Eagle, baby.
I gotta drop my daughter off at Auburn next weekend. So we'll be heading up there.
Oh, you're gonna be up there in the freezing cold.
So I'm gonna drop her off on Saturday, and then Sunday I gotta visit this old man who wants to shake my hand and meet me and won't just sign a contract without meeting me because I'm going through like an off-market deal with a broker I know.
That's a good sign, though, right?
He wants me up there. It's 100 lots in North Alabama outside of Huntsville. So I got to drive from Auburn up there and then down to Georgia to evict somebody because they're fighting the eviction.
Fun.
So when somebody fights an eviction, you actually have to show up at court.
Oh.
So I need to be in Georgia for a court appearance on Monday of the 13th.
Is there grounds to fight an eviction?
Well, maybe. Because technically, so every state's different. Like Arkansas, God, this is getting complicated. In Arkansas, John, if you don't pay me $1,000 and I take 500 of it, then technically I can still evict you. But I think in the state of Georgia, if you pay me that 500, now I have to wait for another term to happen and file an eviction on that because I accepted half of the rent. And I had my office print out her payments. And after she got served, she owes me like almost $3,000. She paid like 700. So it's very iffy because I do have 1 full month of non-pay, and then technically maybe she paid the second month. But like, is the judge going to say, well, lady, like you still owe him month 1, and yeah, you paid some of month 2, but now you're at month 3 plus all the late fees. So I don't know how the judge is going to react, but she has to show up, and I scheduled it at 10:30 on a Monday when she's working, and we're talking low income service workers. So like, very reasonably, she might not be able to get off of work, and in which case, if she doesn't show up, I automatically win. Because she has to fight her case, essentially. She has to prove that she's claiming my dollar amount that she owes me is incorrect was her basis for her fighting the eviction.
So even if the judge sides with her,
I
she'd
start.
still have to pay you all the money, and you could still do a normal eviction
I would just have to
in
start it
another 30
again.
days.
I would have to. Well, I could do it immediately because now January's happened.
Yeah.
So she hasn't paid rent, so I can go and I'll have to tell my office because people can pay via the portal is the problem. So it's not that I can even reject you. I got to see if I can shut her portal down so she can't just submit payment and keep trying to drag this along if that's what is going to happen. So it's
Okay.
all new. So it's a learning thing for me. But here's the thing: I've kicked out 13 people, okay, of this park. I've kicked out almost half of my tenants in this park. I'm running extremely low, and it's like most of them I make this call, and I just had one yesterday with a lady who was crying on the phone with me, and my usual pitch is this: hey, listen, you owe me X amount of money. You could keep trying to pay me, or you could take the money that you owe me and you can go, instead of making your next payment, just go find another place. If you're out by the end of the month, I won't file an eviction on you and I'll forget you owe me anything.
Wow.
Bro, out of the 13 people, 11 of them took me up on it. 11 of them, no eviction, no nothing. They picked a day to move out. They were all gone. 2 of them made me go through an eviction.
Interesting.
One of them is fighting it. The other one, I'm just waiting for the sheriff to kick him out. So it's like, what would you do? And I just had this call with this lady who would be my number 14. And she was like, no, Brandon. She's crying on the phone, dude. And it's not a conversation anybody wants. And you hear the kids in the background, and it's New Year's Day, you know, and she's just bawling out. And it's like, this is my home. I'm like, lady, you owe me like over $1,300 right now without late fees. I was like, but I just paid you $700. I was like, you did, but it's a new month. So now your rent's back up. I was like, you're just not catching up, and I'm about to raise rents in 2 months. I was like, you know what I mean? Like, so I try to have these conversations. I'm like, you could just, she's like, oh, I'm going to pay you $600 in 2 weeks. I'm like, or you could keep that money and go find somewhere cheaper that you can afford.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Is your vacancy percentage going higher with all these people?
Oh, bro, I went from making, well, not making, all these people weren't paying.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really matter to me. So the way I look at it is my job is to get in higher quality tenants. So I'm trying to figure out who the bad people are when I take over a park and get them all the fuck out. Some parks are, and I knew this one was going to be bad. So I'm just, and my investors know too. I informed everyone I was like, the first year is going to suck. It's a piece of shit. I'm going to be evicting and kicking people out, and income is going to be low. I was like, but here are where rents can go. So now this month I'm going to start rehabbing. I got like 13 vacants or 11 about to be.
This is the one with the RV park on it, right? In Georgia?
No, this is just the park. So that's in Arkansas. But anyway, so, I'll start rehabbing and moving people in. And I have a waiting list of people who want to be in the park. They've seen what we've done, but they want stuff they can move into. So I got to rehab them, and I'll fill it all back up at, 800, 900, 850, 800 to 850 a month. Or I'll sell the units to them on owner file, like a rent to own type of contract, and they'll own their own home, and I'll be filled back in occupancy. I figure by summertime I should be back up with all these things. By the end of Q2, beginning of Q3, I should be back to occupy, because other than these 2 people, I have everybody else out. There's one guy, so that would be 13, 14, and then I have 15. But he voluntarily has left his home there. So I got to figure out what to deal with that. So, yeah.
So all of those are still standing vacant because they need rehab?
Every one of them. This is
Exciting
why
times for you.
I have a healthy chunk of change in my bank account that my investors gave me to go rehab. And I'll put about $15K into each of these things, and boom, boom, boom.
Do you set up a new bank account per park?
So we use Relay Financial, reference from Pace Morby. I saw it on one of his videos that he uses, and I was like, cool. And they're very easy to use. So once I get an LLC set up, like our syndication attorney builds the LLC for us, and Brittany goes and sets up, we have 4 bank accounts, 3 for the LLC entity and 1 for our property management company that holds, the rental income. And that gets every park has its own bank account inside our property management company. And then every LLC has like 3 different operating, a reserve account and an investor account.
Nice.
But yeah, I open up, and Relay allows me to open up all of those things remotely, easily, upload some documents, and boom, 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 you're set up without any issues.
Nice.
So it's very easy to deal with Relay. And I looked at a couple banks. I was looking at another one. I think it's called Baseline. There's a couple I was looking at, but they offer like a better return on my savings account, which I'm looking into switching, because when you're holding hundreds of thousands of dollars in this reserve budget, you know what I mean? Like, you want to get some percentage, and right now I'm getting like 1 point something, and I was really thinking like, how painful would it be to switch to a new bank account and get a better percent?
You just put your reserves in it, or you're switching everything to
Everything. I would switch. I mean, we hold a lot of money between all of our parks.
Yeah.
You know, when you start figuring, like, if you start, I mean, I'm small, but what if I was a big time operator, and let's say every park's generating 20, 30, 40, 50K a month, and you got 10, 15, 20 parks, right? Like, every month, like, you're holding a lot. And I know a guy, he did a podcast, and he was talking about how he works with Chase, and he had convinced them to do like a daily sweep, an interest rate sweep, which means he gets paid. So they break it down, because he owns like, I think 60 parks. He's so he's probably got a fuck ton of money with them, but you know, aspirations.
Right.
But it's little things like that you start to worry about, right? Like financial management of how to best make sure because if I got your money, John, and all my investors' money, and I got like $500,000, or even like that Georgia 188, my budget was going to be 2.9 mil that I was going to have in reserve. And that's just sitting there while you wait to use it. Wouldn't it be nice to get like 5% on that, or 4% on that a year?
Do you have to give that back to the investors?
No, that's the money you use to go do the repairs.
No, I know. But when it makes 4%, do you make that, or do your investors get that back?
I personally don't make that. The company
syndication does.
But then I can use that or return it to them, or use it. You know, I'd say either extra income or further money to complete what's needed.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, essentially, yes, it's their money. It's not my money. None of this is my money. I have no money. In fact, I've really been trying to not say that I own anything, and just say I manage or operate parks, because really I hate when people say they own. I'm like, I don't own shit, dude. None of this is mine. Just
one day you'll be able to actually say that.
Yeah, but I don't really mind. I mean, if you think about it, you know, you own, even if you own 20-30%, like Jeff Bezos owns 10% of Amazon. It's like,
is that all he owns Amazon?
Pretty sure now. Pretty sure.
There's a lot of really great clips talking about his equity, and he's like, "This is worth so much money. They try to give me more," and he's like, "Wouldn't it be better if like I can bring people along on the journey and they make money with like I don't need any more than 10% equity, or you can be like Altman and own none."
I mean,
I feel like
Sam.
Dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know, like when I was younger, I think what held me back the most is I wanted to do it all myself. I owned every rental myself, but I only had like, I mean, a dozen or two. It was under 2 dozen. Like, oh wow, now I operate 200 lots or close to it, or about to be 250, and it's like, it's like, you know, I can scale better with other people than I can on my own.
For sure.
So, you know, there's a lot of guys out there that make fun of people like me, like, oh, you know, they say they own it, but they don't really, like, bro, I still got 10, 20, 30, whatever, 40% of the entire investment, but I have like 20 of them, you know, versus only one. So
it would take you a lot longer to do it all by yourself.
But I try to watch my language about what I own versus what I operate.
Yeah. Makes sense. Well, I have a hard stop here in 12 minutes. So, you guys got any other things to bring?
Oh yeah, I'm not.
I had a random thing to ask you guys. Do you guys know the guy Brian Johnson? The guy that he had a company with Venmo and sold it, and he's like the reverse agent guy.
Yeah, he's creepy looking, but yeah.
I'm just like kind of just getting hip to him like recently, like the last couple months, about studying a bunch of stuff. But I watched the first half of his Netflix.
It's $2 million a year
documentary, which is pretty trippy. What are your?
Wait, who is this guy? What's he doing? What?
He basically took the money he made from selling his company. I don't know how much it is, 100 million, billions. He's
$800 million he made on the exit. It was Brain something linked with Venmo. So I don't know. Oh, he acquired Venmo, I guess.
Very wealthy. and decided he wanted to reverse age himself as a test dummy subject. So he spends $2 million a year with doctors and scientists and all of his routines and supplements, and he legitimately has reversed his aging and biological age. I don't know the numbers. I think he's 40 something, and he's got the biological age of like a 20-year-old or something. It's wild, and he looks like a Patrick Bateman. Like
that's exactly who it reminded me of when it was going through his morning routine.
Yeah. So.
Oh, he looks creepy.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, but it's interesting.
I mean, I'm down for it, dude. Like,
why does it cost $2 million though?
The other thing I would highly recommend is you check out Life Force by Tony Robbins.
The book?
The book and the company. But he has a company that he's partners in that deals with reverse aging, NAD, and all that stuff, and biological health.
It's fascinating stuff. One thing that he brought up that I saw, like, not even on the documentary, but he got out of, not to ruin it, John, I feel like you guys would like the documentary on Netflix, but I guess him and his family grew up like Mormon, and he kind of got out of that. And he thinks that people are going to almost have like AI as like a religion. So his biggest things when he talks about now is essentially like human longevity, and then also making sure like AI is programmed for that, like human longevity. And I love how it starts off too, where I may butcher this, but it's like smart people hit targets that they like know of. Like geniuses are able to hit targets that like aren't known to man now, or aren't like conceivable to man now. So that's why he wants to be on the forefront of like being able to have humans live as long as possible. It's pretty cool.
I dig it. I think it is 100% possible for humans. I think seeing a 150-year-old person is a very realistic thing in our lifetime.
100%.
I would love to live well over 100. I've talked to Brittany about it, about routines that I think we should start, and I think maybe our kids' generation would probably be that generation. I think somebody like me, right? Like you got money and you could do it, and we start in our 40s. I think we realistically can live to 100, 105, 10, but be very vital or vibrant.
Yeah.
Whereas I think like my son, he starts, right? If I start when I'm 40 something and he starts when he's 15 or whatever, you know what I mean? Now I think we're talking about somebody who has the ability to live to their 150 or something. But then you really got to ask the question of like, do I want to?
Yeah.
No, because like the uncertainty of the world, it's like, do I want to see the end of the world? Like with all that's going on, like I worry about my grandkids and my kids. It's like when you have kids, you worry about that shit. And it's like, man, like what is the world going to be like? Wars, robots, AI, Terminator type shit. I don't know if I wish that upon anybody.
Yep. It's an interesting time we live in.
So.
It's crazy. But hey, no alcohol, I think, is like you automatically add 5 years.
Yeah.
If you exercise with some type of rhythm 3-4 times a week, that adds 8 years. So I think us three are doing pretty good on that.
Well, yeah, but I think those stats are a little skewed because, again, you're just talking about like keeping your body, just not destroying your body to a point where it has to die early because of what you're doing to it. So I don't think the word adding is apropos. I think it's more about like regaining what you should have had to begin with,
right?
From what we're
netting. You're netting that much more.
Yeah, you're getting it back essentially. Yeah. So
yeah, but I'm probably gonna watch the rest of it tonight or at some point this weekend. But it's cool, just his outlooks on life and everything like that's pretty cool.
It's on Netflix. What's it called?
I think his whole premise or like slogan is "Don't die."
Yeah, I don't know. You can check him out on Instagram. I'm sure he's got a link to it.
Yeah, he's got stuff on there. He's got recommended supplements. He's vegan by choice, so I think that he's not like against an animal-based or plant-based, or animal-based or like meat-based diet. But I think he just does vegan by choice. I could go for a ground beef banana bowl.
Banana and ground beef?
You don't know the BP bowl?
I got a Blackstone now.
I have one too. I got one for Christmas.
Oh,
Me
nice.
Too.
Dude, they're amazing.
Did you get the 30, the 36? What'd you get?
I think it's a 36.
Oh, I got the 30. I wish I would have got a 36.
Is that a grill or just like a griddle?
It's a griddle.
It's like a hibachi style thing.
Okay, yeah, those are amazing.
I got the 30, and I'm like, damn, I wish I would have gotten the 36. Not like I got it for myself, but still, it was a gift. But because you wind up cooking so much that now I'm running out of room. Like the other night, they're bringing me out stuff. I'm like, I'm out of freaking room, people. I got no more room on here. We should have got
I
a
didn't think
bigger
I would
one.
use all of it, but like I've cooked several things, and I'm getting like toppings over here, the main thing over
Oh, yeah,
here,
dude.
heating up the
Oh.
bread in the middle. Like it's kind of
That's amazing.
crazy how much you fill it up.
I made sliders the other day with the Hawaiian rolls, and I sliced them, put them on the griddle, did the burgers and the
Yeah.
pickles and all that, and put it on. And so instead of using the microwave now, like right before the podcast, I was just out there. I had to turn the Blackstone on, threw the stuff on, warmed it back on. And I see these memes and jokes on Instagram from like wives and stuff. They're like, if you want to not have to cook, just get your husband a Blackstone and he'll
That's
take
so
over
funny.
cooking for the house. And literally, it's true. I'm cooking the
Mhm.
veggies on there now. I'm cooking
Mhm.
breakfast, eggs, hash,
Mhm.
potatoes. Like,
What do
I'm
you
just-
throw? What do you throw down on there? Butter? I know you just got it, but what do you
You
usually?
can
No.
put any. I mean, you can do butter, but I mean oil, like a
you
high
cook on a-
smoke point oil.
Do you cook on a cast iron? Use cast iron?
Lately, the last like 3 to 6 months, I've been big on the stainless steel with ghee butter.
Okay.
Cool. I use cast iron, but I was
Me
going to
too.
say, if you know how to use a cast iron and season it, it's the same
Same thing.
concept. You just
Alright.
basically, but John's right. I mean, you know, it's, I don't know, dude. We made fried rice
Dude,
on it.
The
other
food
night.
that you make on it is amazing. Like
Yeah.
we made smash burgers, and
Smash
it was
burgers,
like
yeah,
so
yeah.
good
the
on there.
best thing. The kids are like, "Oh my god, this is amazing."
Yeah, I threw scallops on there, fish on there. I mean, bro, it's literally anything. It's just, I don't know how to describe it. It's just, it gives you so much more room to work with.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like it's just easier to cook stuff because you have more surface area.
Mhm.
So
It's just cool. It's just fun to cook on there.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of the Blackstone.
You feel like a chef. That's kind of like
Yeah.
my table here is like a big Blackstone. Actually, kind of feel just
Yeah.
like chop stuff. Breakfast, doing like pancakes, eggs, bacon. That's
Do it
fun.
all.
yeah. Oh yeah, we do it all in there. I mean, my grill, I got it because like I'm the type of dude who uses stuff until it like
Falls apart.
died. My grill was lit. I was missing wheels. It was lopsided. 3 of my 4 burners were rusted out, and like I was using one burner to cook, and it was just, dude, it was so dilapidated. But I didn't want to buy a new one. I was like, this is still working. I can still do it. This is fine. And so, and then I was in here working the other day after I got the Blackstone set up, and I came out and my grill was gone. I was like, where the fuck is it? My wife took it down to the bottom of the driveway because she was sick and tired of looking at it. Her and our son had to carry it down there while I was in here because they knew I would just leave it there. Because I was like, there's no need. Just what if we need it though? Like,
That's
so
pretty
yeah,
funny.
I mean, Blackstones are legit. You know, my neighbor's got one. I watched him cook on it, and I was like, man.
I knew they were legit, but I didn't realize how legit they were. Like I've wanted one for a couple of years now. But yeah, I'm a true believer now that I've actually got to use it.
If you got TikTok, just hop on TikTok and type in Blackstone recipes in there. And
Oh,
it's
I've
like,
started
yeah.
going down the rabbit hole. It's a lot. I'm gonna like spend some time researching. Even like the Blackstone actual YouTube channel has a ton of stuff on it because they bring in like they have 7 different chefs doing different types of food, and they all post videos once a week.
I think it cooks more evenly too. I'm gonna say,
Yeah.
that. I think it cooks more. Like I did steak on it, and I did some
I made
ribeyes
some
on
great
it.
steak.
Yeah, and
Have
I
you
felt
got one
like
of these yet though?
What is that?
Damn,
It's
those
an
are sick.
infrared thermometer so that you can like test the temperature of the
Without
top of
having
the
to
Blackstone.
probe it, like use like a
Yeah, you
standard
just-
meat thermometer.
I don't use
You
a
just
meat.
point it
thermometer.
like
Oh,
a gun.
I slice it open is what I do. I
That's
cut
so
it
funny.
open.
Oh no, this doesn't do the meat. So I do need a better probe one for like I have a probe one, but
Oh, you're just
So what is
measure
that
This is
for?
the top of the Blackstone, so you know what
So
the
when you're ready to
temperature of the
cook.
Blackstone is.
Oh fuck that. That's too complicated.
I have this for the turtles because I got to figure out what their basking point is, and I was
I
like,
bet you
oh,
fuck- I
because
bet
people
you
kept
fuck-
talking about it, like you can use this to figure out what your temperature of the top of Blackstone is.
Yeah. So I mean, dude, I dig it. Glad you got one, John. We can talk about it. I wish I would have
Heck
got. A bigger one might be in the market for me in the next year or two as I master it because we're running out of room. So
I found I need a table next to me because I'm like
Yeah.
taking so much stuff on
Yes.
and off at the same time. I'm like, oh, these little side tables are
They're
not working
nothing.
for me.
I legit. So I have. I put my Yeti, like my Yeti cooler,
Yeah.
next to the grill, and I use that as a table. And I was thinking, I was like, well, I got some butcher block from an old rehab I did out there. I wonder if I like oil that
I've
up.
always like
seal it,
people's
I can make a
outdoor
table.
kitchens with
Yeah.
their like counters. I was like, what's the point of that? Now
Yeah.
I understand.
Because we were
Yeah.
regular grill users, we didn't understand. Now we because you're walking out there, bro, with trays and bowls and seasoning and oil and water, and like you got all
Yeah.
this shit and you got all these utensils, and like, yeah, I'm with you, John.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway. All right, guys.
All right, I
well,
gotta
this
hop
is
to
good.
another call.
See
Happy
you
New
next
Year,
week.
guys.
Happy
For
New
those
Year.
of you that believe in that,
Enjoy your Blackstone meals.
Well, will.
we will. Don't you worry. We'll both of us will send you pictures now, Carlos.
that.
They sell little ones. So
Indoor?
for you.
I could put one on the
No,
balcony,
you
I
never
guess.
want
And,
it because it smokes a lot. when you
Yeah.
cook most of it.
Don't you have a patio?
Yeah, the dude across from me has a big grill.
Yeah, you could get. There's portable ones because I know my daughter's friend has a portable one that
Mhm.
they bring out when they do campfires and stuff. So I think you could get like a little one, but either way.
Shannon almost got that for me, and then she's like, I found a great deal on a big one, so I got it, and it was worth it. We need it
100%.
for our size of family.
Little did you know she just wanted you to cook more.
Well, I do most of the cooking
Oh.
anyways, but now, like
Yeah.
I'm more excited. I'm like, yes, I would love to cook
Yeah,
dinner
you
on
feel-
Blackstone tonight.
I don't know what it is, but you definitely feel like a man.
1,000,000%.
I don't know.
Just,
I
I
don't know.
got everything in front of you, doing it all. I got the jalapenos over there, the burger there, the bread
I'll say
over there.
this. I'll say this real quick. When I was looking at Blackstone, I saw somebody had dug a ground pit next to their thing, and they had like and so basically a big ground pit where you stoke the coals and fire, and you have like the old school like spit roast going over it,
Yeah.
and they're hanging like meats and tomahawks from it. I'm like, well, what if I just put that next to my fucking Blackstone? And I'm like, man, I would be like a real, you know what I'm saying, dude? I'm like hanging my tomahawk, got a fucking kettle bowl there, just making
Mhm.
soup, and I'm grilling on the fucking black. I was like, I should do this. Really, I was like trying
I'd
to
stop
figure
over
out-
to Papa P's restaurant
Yeah.
for that.
There you
Mhm.
go, dude.
Mhm.
Anyway, all right, guys, you take it easy. See you next
See you guys. Have a great week
Awesome.
and
Take it easy, guys.
weekend.